I love color in my photography, and it's very, very rare that you'll see me leave something in black and white, unless it's freaking adorable. But color can be a very, very tricky subject because photography, like any art, is extremely subjective. But even though it is subjective, there is a point when you cross a line and you actually end up ruining a photo. See, there's a difference between style and accuracy, and photography is the journey of finding the balance between the two. But with that said, that balance needs to be respected, especially when it comes to working with a client. For example, if we unnecessarily censor my Instagram feed, we can tell what my average color preferences are. But like I mentioned earlier, it is a balancing act between style and accuracy. Call me crazy, if someone buys something and doesn't get what they expected, they're gonna be mad. Okay, with all of that out of the way, the point of today's video is to show you guys how to improve your color accuracy in Lightroom. Okay, so here we have this image loaded up into Lightroom, and I'm sure you're familiar with everything here, but you may have not known of this simple tip. The first thing that you wanna do right away is you want to right click in anywhere in this area and set your background color to white. For most online interfaces, the background is going to be white. So now comparing the sky, we can tell how bright or dim the image is supposed to feel. This next tip is super simple, but for some reason I still see a lot of people missing the mark on this one, is to consistently check your before and after edits. The shortcut for this is /, which lets you toggle between your before and after. But there's another helpful before and after shortcut, which is Y. Now we can see the before and after at the same time. And another handy thing to try is to push Shift Y, which will change the before and after view so that you can see it in 1 instead of 2. Anyway, lots of options there, but I use this one all the time to make sure that my colors aren't too adventurous. Now, this tip might not always be possible depending on what's going on, but for a number of years I worked with a women's clothing boutique. But what I would do is actually take a picture of their clothes rack so that I could compare the colors, but just having something to remind you of what that color looked like in real life, and bringing out the best in that color while still maintaining as much accuracy as possible. Another tip is to realize that less is more. In my opinion, it's better to be undersaturated than oversaturated. This is probably the most important thing that you take away from this video, is that skin tones need to remain skin tones. And what I mean by that is that the human eye can tell very quickly if something else does not look like a human. So as you're editing skin tones, make sure to preserve them as much as possible and be very conservative with the orange hue slider, as that's where most skin tones live. Now for the next tip, you want to be very careful about temperature and tint. These are the easiest things to overlook when editing. Whether you like it or not, there will be unintended light bouncing off from every single surface, and that will actually cast a different hue onto whatever subject you're shooting. So for example, in this sunglasses shot, I'm using a bunch of pine trees as the background. Here I'm going to pull the tint more toward the magenta side to counteract that green. And here's the before and after of that step. So for me personally, my main laptop is an M1 Max MacBook Pro, and I'm kind of rocking that trackpad life, but sometimes it can be harder to do these really tiny fine-tune adjustments with the trackpad. All you have to do is hover over the setting that you would like to change and tap your arrow keys up or down to change them at very, very tiny increments. And my last tip is to just take a break every now and then. I'm sure you've had this moment where you have this shirt that you love and you're like, oh, I just love this color. And sometimes the color looks different to you over time. And what actually happens is the rods in your eyes get tired of firing that color to your brain. So take a break, get away from the screen just for a second. But I can't tell you how many times that happens where I'll be in the middle of editing and then I'll go out to lunch, come back and think that all of my photos look completely different than what I was expecting. So it doesn't hurt to take a break, get a fresh set of eyes on your work, and that said, get a fresh set of eyes on your work. If there's another person who can kind of give you a small peer review, that's also super helpful. Anyway, that's it for my tips and tricks on improving your color accuracy in Lightroom. Hopefully this video helped. If you like this video, like it, comment down below what you would like to see next, or if you have any other tips that help you guys maintain your color accuracy. Do not forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.